Hey guys, this is Gauntlet with Gauntlet's Race Mod. Today we are showing off another ship set completed. This is a big one because it is my Terrans, so you can see Earth rotating there. Obviously Terrans are a crowd favorite because you use them in the campaign, and obviously we are all, sadly, so human. And so we're naturally many players play Terrans as their primary race, so there's tons of other custom ships for the Terrans that are going to be out there, which is cool. So, I mean, it is both a little interesting in that you can't be it's hard to be unique because there's going to be so many different Terrans, but you have to make a Terran set when you're doing a race mod. I think you just have to. So here is the race. You can see the portrait on the top right there with a nifty background. Pretty happy with how that came out, with the exception of the fact that because of the nature of the image, it really had to be super zoomed in like that. He's really in the foreground there, but that's okay. Alrighty, so the ships. I have been working on this ship set for a long time. It's gone through several iterations because it's the first. It's the first one I started on. So there's definitely a lot of ships in here that if you've been watching my other videos, you've seen them before. But that being said, there are definitely some brand new ships in here that you have not. So let's get going. First up is Tiny. We have a probe. And this probe is clearly hiding in a bunch of rocks. It is like a covert ops probe, and it's kind of hard to detect. It's disguised as a meteorite swarm or something. So this was my very first ship where I really figured out animation. So yeah, there's some nostalgia value there, I suppose. Oh, also, for being done, I get to have a shot. We're going with apple pie liqueur because this is just a sweet moment for me. Ah, finally done. So many hours. Alright, moving on. So that was the tiny probe. Now you have a tiny fighter. Pretty basic little fighter. Very rudimentary, really. A lot of little details, though, working in here. Yeah, if I could do everything all over again, maybe I'd change him up. Maybe less missile pods or something, but yeah, I think he's pretty good. He's just simple. Then we have his big brother, and this is also a tiny hull, but this one I'm much happier with, much more proud of this one. It's got a unique sort of engine layout. It's got asymmetry going on with some of the tech gear on the right and left. It's still got all the maneuvering jets plus more, and it has this really cool weapon system I put together. It takes like 10 parts to make it this sort of round multi port glowy thing. Missile bombardment. Well, actually I'm using that as an energy weapon, so energy weapon bombardment. But yeah, really happy with this guy. The little targeting array on the top left of the hull with the little blue eye. Love it. Okay. And then we have another new one. This one is a kinetic fighter. Much more interesting design. It's based off that standard fighter, but now it's got these two sort of wing-like appendages. The back also has a couple of nozzles, and I don't know if you can tell, but those tiny little engines are actually moving. So you can imagine those are just little adjustment thrusters, which is cool. And of course you have the kinetic weapon system here. Yep. And while that might look like an ammo drum spinning, I'm thinking that's more of a cooling system, because the guns in the front aren't actually firing fast enough to justify that sort of spin, I think. But hey, whatever. It's awesome looking. I'm very happy with it. Okay, so those are the tinies. Moving on to the smalls. Of course, you have a wing, as per usual, of the standard fighter. But in this case, you also have a wing with the sort of energy fighter and 2 escorts. And then the same for the kinetic fighter also with 2 escorts. So you get some variety there, which is pretty cool. You then have a couple other small hulls, such as this one, which we'll probably use for the balanced AI ship, the one that's going to have, you know, multiple weapon systems. I like it. It's sort of a bigger, lumbering gunship. A lot of little details thrown in here. I don't know what came over me at some point, but I decided that, hey, you know what? Landing gear, because why not? But yeah, this was a fun one to make. I really like it. I know it doesn't look it, but when I was building it, I was thinking, okay, what would my Millennium Falcon look like? I want something that's got identity and a little bit of character. And I think it's pretty cool. I mean, it's not the Millennium Falcon, but it's pretty... I'm happy with it. Yeah. Okay. So next up, probably my favorite small craft I've ever made. This puppy. This is meant to be an energy bomber, and a heavy energy bomber, and yeah, I love this model. It's fantastic. I love the angles. Kind of reminds me of all sorts of dropships from all sorts of different sci-fi genres. This is the ship where I actually came up with this unique weapon system here. It's got a nice level of detail without being too much. You know, it's got the little sort of camera targeting juncture there at the top, just above the cockpit, but not too much else interfering. Yeah, it's just a nice level of detail without going overboard, and the angles are really cool. It's not flat, it's not too straight, it's not too angled, it's just, yeah, I love this ship. Okay, that's it. One more for the smalls. I took that gunship and modified it up a bit so that we could have our exploration small craft. Tried a few new things with the antenna and you know, an ion drive there. It's got a big rotating dish on top in addition to the teeny one, and then it's even got a bigger sensor node over here off to the port side. So yeah, I'm happy with this one too. It's cool. Alrighty, so we're gonna go into the cargoes first before we get into the mediums, large, and huges. For cargo, we start with your standard colony vessel, and I usually use these for freighters as well. Freighters are so one use that it's kind of a waste of effort to design a specific model just for the freighter. But anyways, and it's not like constructors where you're building them forever in ever-increasing quantities, because we have a weird system for, you know, upgrading starbases that really doesn't work. Okay. Then you have your constructor. You're going to notice this is my constructor from the previous videos. It's got this nice asteroid base sort of deal going on. But new to it are the drones. These are drones. You might have seen them in my tutorial videos. Yeah, they've got this really cool little docking mechanism that I like, so I could keep them at that angle. And then we've got one over here carrying a spare rock. This is kind of an afterthought, adding the drones to this guy, but it makes a ton of sense because they're work drones and they'll help with constructing something. But you're going to see another cargo ship in a moment with the drones that was really the intent of why I made them. Real quick, this is my medium carrier, but we're using it as a drone carrier, as a cargo ship, because the AI does not have a medium carrier blueprint anyways. So this way it gets some use from the AI, and you'll see this ship occasionally, rather than just let it languish and be a player-only ship. Yeah, I think this was my first carrier where I really made sure I could have fighters docked off of it. So it's not super impressive, but I do like it a lot. I'm very happy with the look. I'm very happy with these windows in the front. That's all basically one big long piece, and the tube paneling is pretty nice. So yep, quite happy. Alright, then we have the transport. So this is where the drones come back into play. Yeah. So this is your standard transport hull, but we've changed the front significantly. And it has two defensive kinetic turrets, kind of like AA emplacements. You're going to see that a lot on the other ships. And then it also has this really awesome missile launcher array, which again, you're going to see on the bigger missile ships. This was the last ship I made in the set, so it's kind of funny to it's kind of benefited from everything I learned previously. So yeah, it's got this really cool missile array. That's using a standard missile pod from the item set, but I've increased it to maximum size, positioned tubes in there, made a warhead design, and then put it all together and animated it. So I'm really happy with that look. I'm really happy with the animations. These kinetic turrets are also really nice. Got a nice anti-aircraft feel going on for them. And then, of course, towards the back, you've got sort of a carrier module and an invasion module attached in there. Really just to imply that this thing does have some shuttles or drop pods or whatever, and it does carry some troops. But, like all my transports, it has a way of bombarding the enemy. And it's again with rocks, but unlike the other transports, which might be holding the rocks or have some sort of, I mean, the Fulgar one had this really cool like wave thing that was positioning the rock in front and keeping it still. My humans don't have that sort of technology, so they are moving rocks the old-fashioned way by moving them, by carrying them. So we have drones on the side here, and the ones that are not docked are carrying rocks. You have a couple individuals just kind of floating around there, moving their rock. And then you've got this one, which was cool because it's a really big rock, and it's got two of them clinging on to make it go. So I'm super happy with this. So the idea here is that this ship moves into orbit during or after a battle. It's using the drones to collect rocks and launch them into the proper orbits to bombard cities. And it has a large missile system for precision bombardment of specific targets. So as opposed to, well, we're just going to knock out a small town and terrorize people or something. Super happy with this ship. I think it's really great, and it stands out from the other cargo chassis because I used blue, this shiny metallic blue, a lot more than the gray on this ship. Alright, so a couple more cargoes. These won't be used by the computer, but I have sort of a stationary rock base with a couple of carrier modules and a couple of fighters. It's really just meant to be maybe a player drone carrier you just put in orbit, don't even give it an engine. Then you've got a listening base for scanner ships. It's a cargo hull. Just chuck it full of scanners and see half the map, because why not? Pretty happy with these. I like the sort of angled... I've angled these tubes with antennas into some of the crater areas of the asteroid, which is cool. That's a nice effect. But otherwise, it's pretty standard fare. I've learned a lot more. I could probably do a much more interesting rock base for this now, but this is still good, and I like the kind of unevenness of this big dish over on the left, so I'm happy with it. Alright, so now the mediums. Now here is where weapon systems start to matter. Here we go. This is a beam-focused medium ship. These are actually going to be beam turrets. You can see they got a little light there. They got the same sort of targeting array I've been using, and yeah, a little detail right there at the top of it. I like these turrets. You're going to see them a lot. And it's got this weird trifecta array of lasers, which is cool. Yep, very happy with it. It's a little reminiscent of the Tidan from the Tidan assault frigate from Homeworld because of the little pointy nose horn thing in the front, which is kind of cool. Yeah, very happy with this design. It's been there since the beginning. All right, then we've got our kinetic ship. This is also a really cool hull. You've seen this a lot too if you've seen my previous videos. So this really just got an update in that now it has these two big kinetic guns with some sort of barrels on the either side for maybe for ammo. and we replaced the back turrets with our new turret, our new kinetic turret. Kind of suggesting that that's for AA defense, maybe. It's got a few beam weapons, but it's mostly relying on kinetics. Alrighty, then we have our missile destroyer. So this uses 3 of those big missile arrays I've designed, right in front, bombarding people from long range. I think it's pretty badass. Yup. This one lacks much in the way of turrets. It's really only got some back turrets. But yeah, it really just relies on the 3 giant missile launchers in front. Alright, then we have our survey ship. Kind of uses that the carrier frame, except we've given it a lot of interesting radar dishes instead of fighters. And I kind of went crazy with antenna. It's got, what, 5 antenna over here on the top. You got two tiny ones and a big one on the command deck, and then 2 side ones, and then you got 2 radar dishes there. So it's a little crazy, but I like it. Alrighty, large. The large had a lot of fun with the large. I think they're some of the best overall ships. You've got this one. This is my standard large. It's a beam attacker, but you'll also notice again some of the newer turrets there with the cycling back. I'm really basically thinking of those as like AA guns on old school World War II battleships. So you're gonna see them a lot. But yeah, I view these ships almost as castles in some ways. They have turrets, but also they have the sort of, I think they still call them turrets, but the big towers are placed throughout. And I make sure to space them so that for the most part, if you pointed every gun forward, they could still fire forward. They still have the line of sight to go directly forward. The only exception to that is really the rearmost turret emplacement zones. So, yep. That's your beam one. Here's your kinetic one. We took the same ship, removed some of the turret emplacements, but we gave it 4 really big guns right here in the front, and sort of this angular formation in the front that you'll notice was present with the other kinetic ships. So that style, angular fronts, probably a kinetic Terran ship then. And then we have the missile large. Yeah. Again, you lost that whole front section, but it's much bulkier, much simpler. But now it's got 3 big missile barrage weapon systems directly forward, and then it's got this mortar formation going on in the front here with another 6. Yeah, I think this is just fantastic. I think this came out really, really nice. It's not as long as the other ships, but it's got this bulk in the front that the others just don't have. So it's a little bit simpler a profile, but the mortars just are crazy looking. They're just great, especially at that angle. And I think it really, really works. Okay, and then we have a support battleship. Again, I tried to do a more unique front piece with a lot of sensory bits, and you got your radar dishes. This one uses those interesting energy weapons I have as turrets, but is otherwise unarmed. The AI uses large hulls for support systems sometimes, and they're generally not going to be armed, so I didn't want to overdo it. There you go. Okay, on to the larges. I'm sorry, the huges. Oh, one more large. The large carrier. You've probably seen this before. This is my favorite carrier I've ever done because it's the only one that has interior hull space, and it's carrying my favorite small ship design ever. So they're on these elevators that are lifting them up. You got these big doors that are opening and closing to give you view. I don't know if you can tell, but inside on the right you've got a big power cable just going off, and on the left you actually have some ironwork and a airlock door. That is where the pilots are entering or leaving. It's also got a window into the for the probably the local engineering command area, and you got several of those. So I tried to put a little bit of thought into how that was laid out, and I'm really happy with how that came out. Otherwise, the only thing new on this ship is I updated all the turrets to be the newer ones, and yeah. Okay, now on to the huge ships. First up, we have our beam huge ship. This one has these two big beam weapons in the front. I love the piece I'm using here because it has arrows pointing at them, which is, I think, just hilarious. Look here! Bam! This also has my biggest turret that I've ever done. Very World War II, very naval battleship turret there. It's really, really big. Yep, kind of ponderously slow moving. And it's got a total of 6 of these massive turrets. And then it's got enough of the smaller laser turrets that if these weapon systems worked by how many I put on them, like this thing would melt virtually any other ship I've designed, like instantly. It's got so many different weapon mounts. So yeah, really love this ship. I love the viewing deck. The sort of raised command deck is really cool. So yeah, quite happy. We're going to use that model, that base model a lot, and just change up the turrets a bit. This next one is our kinetic. It's really the same, except a lot of the turrets got swapped out to be kinetic turrets, as you can see. And then the front got 5 big kinetic cannons. I would have liked them to actually be bigger, but honestly, that piece can't get bigger. And I don't feel like scaling down the entire rest of the ship to accommodate, or jury-rigging a new type of cannon. So I'm just gonna live with it. Okay, now we're gonna skip a couple here. We're gonna go, this is real quick, this is that same ship again, only this has a mixture of all the turrets, and it has missiles in front, the big missile launchers in front, not many, just 2. This will be used as our balanced ship, huge hull, so this is just meant to have a little bit of everything. Alright, now we got 2 more huges. The missile huge. It's actually not really as big as the other one. And the way I built it, it came out significantly smaller in scale. I had to work with scaling down these turrets, and they're multi parts, so they weren't happy about scaling, but we got it to work. It's got 2 of the missile launchers in front with this interesting sort of side shielding going on, and you can see some lattice work in there too. It's got a front array of a total of 6 anti-aircraft turrets, and then it's got 2 of the special energy weapons. It's the only ship I've really made where the command deck is in front and not in the middle or the back. It's also got another 4 of those turrets in the back. But obviously the major arsenal is this mortar array of large missile launchers. I think there are 18 of those there. So this ship has a total of 20. Each one has 8 missiles, so that is a lot. I think that's 160. Yeah, really cool. My Fulgar also have a ship that's somewhat similar in that it has a ton of large sort of missile arrays. That has them on the sides like a broadside. This has it all positioned at the top, somewhat similar to a strategic missile submarine. I think the profile has some similarity with the command deck up in front, and then the big missile doors really in the back and along the whole side. So yeah, you can just imagine this really just hanging in the back and pounding everything else. I use that same model again to make a carrier. Yep, quite happy, but it is generally the same model except that it replaces the missile pods with little docked fighters and an extra little command area. And of course you got your fighters flying around 4 of them this time. I think that's the most I've ever done flying at the same time. But yeah, very happy with the design. I thought it warranted reuse. So, yep, there we go. Alright, guys, let me just do a quick check here. Yeah, I think we did everything. So there we go. There are the Terrans. I love these guys. I think they came out fantastic. If I could do it all over again, I would go through and maybe add a little more blue to some of these. But, you know, there's some contrast, and you can always modify that yourself when you do get the sets. So, yeah, there we go. This is the third set to be marked as just done. I'm done with it. I'm not touching it. So the mod continues. And, yeah, more on that soon. Thanks so much, guys.